Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Relationship Circle podcast. I'm your host, Beck Thompson, and this podcast is all about helping you stop running in circles, ditch those dating games, and let your inner compass lead the way. Let's talk about that lonely, sinking feeling that tends to hit right around the weekend when the group chats kind of go quiet. Social media kind of fills up with couples out on their dates and picnics and wineries and brunches and cozy nights in. And you're sitting there thinking, oh my God, is it just me? Am I the only one who is home alone this weekend? So if weekends sometimes feel like a trigger more than something you're looking forward to, this episode's for you. Let's talk about that lonely weekend spiral and what it really means and how to move through it in a way that is actually healing for you. So why do weekends hit so hard for you when you're single? And I know this is not all of you, but I do have a lot of clients that the weekends are rough. The weekends signal that they're alone. It kind of highlights this sense of it's just me, you know, and even when they have friends and maybe a lot of the friends are coupled up and in relationships or have kids, and it's hard on the weekends. And, you know, during the week, we're busy. Most of us are really busy. We've got work, we've got routines, some of us have kids, deadlines, and that busyness can really cover up what is going on underneath. And then it gets to Friday night, right? And it rolls around and there's space. The work week is finished. It's quiet. And that's when all of these feelings that have been hidden underneath that busyness creep up. And in that endless scroll, because I'm sure you all get on Instagram and scroll through, you see other people's lives, or let's say the highlight reel of other people's lives, because it's not really what's going on. But then suddenly that has you questioning your whole life. Like it's often a common story that I hear from clients all the time. Like this is when all of the fear and the limiting beliefs and everything pops up. Like, what's wrong with me? Why is this so hard for me? Why is this happening to me and not them? Why will I always be alone? Am I the only one that's not included in this group? And what I really want you to know out of this episode is that you're not broken. Your loneliness is not a flaw. There's nothing wrong with you. The loneliness is a message. So let's unpack what that loneliness is trying to tell you, because these feelings that come up are not something to be one, they're not something to be ignored, but also they're not something to go and fall in a hole in and spiral about them, right? There needs to be some balance of like, I'm feeling this, I'm curious about it. Anyway, let's get into that so that we can unpack what is actually underneath the loneliness. So like on the surface, the loneliness kind of feels like, I wish I had someone here. And I think the sense that I get from clients is that if someone was here, if you had a boyfriend, a partner, a husband, whatever, that they would feel that gap of that loneliness. So it's only because you're missing someone in your life that the loneliness is here. But it's deeper than that, because often it's about these stories that you're telling yourself in that moment. What are these stories trying to highlight? So the common things that I kind of hear from clients are like, everyone else has this figured out but me. This is never going to change. Maybe I'm too much, or maybe I'm not enough. Like, do these things sound familiar to you? Because if they do, that's super common. And the tricky part about thoughts is that sometimes they're a little bit sneaky because they feel really true because how do I say this? They're like infused with emotion, right? So the thoughts and the emotions are kind of all tangled up together. And so they feel really true. They feel like it isn't ever going to happen for you. And maybe you have evidence that kind of proves that is true in some way for you. It's not, but this is what happens. The thoughts are sneaky. It doesn't mean that they're true, right? And if you've ever experienced being anxiously attached or having these people-pleasing tendencies, this loneliness on a Friday night, on a weekend, is going to like spiral in your nervous system because it's just trying to protect you from that fear of being alone. And unfortunately, it just perpetuates more of that. But we don't realize that when we're in it. So the truth is that you're not too much, you're not enough. I will always say that you will always be the right amount for someone. Doesn't mean you won't annoy the hell out of someone. Doesn't mean that you won't. Gosh, me and my husband annoy the hell out of each other all the time. but I still love him for who he is, right? And he's not too much or not too little for him, and I'm the same. And you're definitely not alone in this. So instead of trying to distract yourself from these feelings or numb out from these feelings, I really want you to get curious. And like my clients must hear me say this over and over again, but curiosity is so helpful because it allows you that space in between what is going on and you falling into the whole of what's going on to be able to look at it from a distance and just be curious about it. What is this feeling trying to show me? What do I actually need to do right now? What is the belief? What is the limiting belief that is under this feeling? Like if I sit in this loneliness, which just means if I am with the loneliness and I don't turn on a TV or drink a glass of wine or message a friend to do something, or like I just notice that I'm lonely. And then I'm curious about that loneliness. What is it trying to tell me? I can guarantee you if you get quiet and don't distract from it, the loneliness, and be curious about it, step outside of yourself and get curious about it, you will have answers for yourself. You might not know what to do with these answers, but you will have answers for yourself. And there's a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Because you can feel alone when you're in a relationship. I'm sure people have experienced, you can feel alone being in a room full of people. So it's not the people that cure the loneliness. And being alone can actually be really sacred and beautiful. It can be peaceful, grounding, energizing. That it can feel like I love my alone time. And maybe it's because I have a 5-year-old and a sometimes noisy husband, but I love my alone time. And the difference is that loneliness, that's kind of what shows up when we abandon ourselves emotionally. So it's not about being with someone. It's about you disconnecting from you, from what you need, from your emotions, from your truth. And this is what most of us do when we feel lonely. We do something to cover up, which, to be honest, this is what a lot of us do when a lot of feelings or emotions come up that we do not like, right? I don't like sadness. I'm going to mask it. I don't like anxiety. I'm going to distract from it. I don't like loneliness. I'm going to have a glass of wine, call a friend, get on Tinder, swipe. Like there's a lot of distraction going on from the loneliness. So what if instead of avoiding the weekend, you made the weekend yours? Because like I like to say to a lot of clients, you know, this is actually a really cool time when you're single and you're not attached to someone, and maybe you feel like it's gone on for too long. But this is the time where you get to make the weekend solely about you. Like, what do you want to do? If you had Saturday for your own pleasure, would you go on a solo coffee date for yourself? Would you go for a long walk? Would you have a bath with your favorite music playing or Netflix in the bath with the wine? Like, what if Sunday nights were cool just for yourself? What if they were a time to journal, to reflect, to set intentions, to check in with you? Because there's no way out of the work. Whether you do the work with me, by yourself, with someone else, you have to do the work, right? The only way out is through. The avoiding won't get you to where you need to go. It doesn't magically happen. You have to actually sit with what is happening. These rituals don't just fill up time, they reconnect you to yourself. And from that place, when you're connected to yourself, you are magnetic. I see it all the time in my clients, and it is one of the coolest things. I feel like I say this weekly to them, you are magnetic. Look at what is showing up in your life because you've done the work. It is so cool, and you will see it too. Once you do that work, once you're reconnected with yourself and your authenticity, and you are being yourself through and through, you are magnetic. So let's talk a little bit about the body and what it kind of feels like in your nervous system, because this is really important. Because when we're lonely, when we're feeling lonely, it's not just in our mind, it lives in our bodies. So it might create, and again, this is the time for you to get quiet with the loneliness and see what it feels like in your body without judging it, without shaming it, with just sitting with it. It could be a tight chest. It could be like this pit in your stomach. It could be this urge to do something about it, right? The urge to distract. Where does that urge feel in your body? You just know that something isn't right for you. You might want to feel something. So instead of that spiraling around it or self-blaming yourself, try this. I love, you might kill me because it's winter in Australia, but I love cold water, like jump in a cold shower, splash your face with cold water, go outside, go for a walk in the cold, and notice the 5 things that you can see or hear. Talk to yourself out loud. Remind yourself that you are okay, because sometimes this loneliness sparks this fear that you are not okay, that you are not safe, that you need someone else. So even if you say to yourself, like, I'm safe, I've got me, right? This is looking after your nervous system. This is teaching your nervous system to be present, to not live in the future or the past. It's self-soothing, and it is one of the most powerful ways to interrupt that spiral and to interrupt what is happening when you feel loneliness. So your reminder out of all of this is that your loneliness does not mean something is wrong with you. It does not mean that tomorrow something can't change. It doesn't mean that love isn't coming and it's right around the corner, because that's what happens. That is actually what happens. You don't know that it's coming. This is the beautiful part, and maybe the scariest part about life is that there is so much unknown. You don't know what's around the corner. But what if it was beautiful? What if like the person that you're meant to be with is around the corner, and what you had to unblock sat behind the loneliness? Like, it's all it is. It's just a series of us unblocking the things that are in the way. And what if that one thing is the loneliness and you're avoiding looking at it? Look at the loneliness. All of this just means you're human, and all of it just means that you're asking for attention and care and connection, and give it to yourself. So what if you'd shift your weekends into not judging yourself, but building the kind of life that you would want to invite someone into? And if you want support with this, reach out. I'm so here to support you. I don't want you to feel this loneliness, but you do need to sit with it. So be kind to yourself, be curious about it, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the show. If you got value from this, please don't hesitate to share with a friend so they can get value from this too. And don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss an episode. It's also how I keep this podcast alive.
Audience exclusive.